Well, this showed up unexpectedly, so I thought I'd give it a whirl in between all my Catherine Coulter and Patricia Briggs readings. This showed up. I'm like, oh, refreshing arrival. So I thought I'd try it. So the question is here: is this a book about a movie making, or is this a book about a shark? Go figure. Welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina Kairas, Tina. This is where we read books and talk about books. No special effects, no theme music, none of that fancy smashy stuff going on here. Horrible thumbnails, so if you could spread the word that I actually exist, because apparently my thumbnails are not good enough to attract anybody's attention, so I could use some help here. I need a Christmas miracle. I don't think I'll get it, but anyways. So please hit the like and subscribe. It'd be appreciative. Don't forget to check out Star Trek Next Generation. Our recaps every Friday. If then episodes every Friday afternoon. I work really hard on those. If you like this author, then maybe you like that author. And I got carried out with Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're going to move into some new stuff in January. Also, don't forget to check out Flashback Monday, where we talk about all the books in this Romantic Times book review. Sometimes I do up to 80 books, so if you're looking for a new Regency, a new mystery, a new contemporary romance, new paranormal, new Harlequin, new inspirational, new sci-fi, please check that out. So I love this series. I did this series last year, so if you've not seen any of the videos on this series, please check it out. This is Lights, Camera, Bones by Carolyn Haines. This is book 27 in the Sarah Booth Delaney mystery series. I did all the books last year, and I did one earlier this year, so please check all those videos out. It'd be much appreciative. So a Trinity movie studio is filming a production here, and it's about the 1927 Mississippi river flood. And so your main core characters. Oh, and beware of spoilers. I won't tell you how it ends, but I will spoil most of the characterizations. And I want to you have Sarah Booth and her husband Coleman, or I think they're married. Anyway, and then Tinky and her husband, Miss Richmond. And so those are your four. And then you have some externals that make very brief appearances, not too many. Most of your interaction is going to be with new characters involved with the plot. They're not your core group that's here every book. The core group makes a little bit of appearances here and there, but not too much. It's mostly just Sarah and Tinky, and Jitty makes quite a few appearances, but most of your character appreciation for this book is external characters, is extra characters that are just here for the one-time book. So, this is kind of... So this guy Marlon is in town, and I don't know... It's like every time I think of Marlon, I think of Marlon Brando. So this guy's name is Marlon Brandon, and his grandfather's name is Brandon. His parents died under mysterious circumstances. Would you stop? Come over here. Come, Smokey. She's being naughty. And I have got to sneeze. So, the other person, if you watched, I did a video several months ago, please go check it out, about ghosts. And most of them, I tried. Wasn't too successful, but I tried. And this was one of the authors that was mentioned. Some of the other ones, the librarian series, Carrie Singleton, Ellie Adams, I think. I might got that wrong. But anyway, she has a ghost visit her in the library. And eventually, at some point, she does solve the ghost's murder. But this ghost in here is Jitty. And Jitty, she comes as different characters, different disguises from history. And she never, it drives me crazy that she really doesn't give Sarah Booth an answer. Oh, it's prevented from the great beyond. There are rules, blah, blah, blah. But she doesn't, none of the stuff has anything to do with the plot line. Or maybe every once in a while she'll insinuate something, but she insinuated something in this book that was already mentioned by two other characters. So it wasn't any new news to Sarah Booth. And she's been hammering Sarah Booth about having a child of her own. So she's doing all that stuff. So she's here, she's extra, sometimes she's annoying. She drives Sarah Booth crazy. She hasn't, I think she did tell Coleman at one point, I'm not sure. Or they were talking about telling Coleman in one book. So we'll see what happens there. So they go, there's this movie set, like I said, and they're filming this movie. And one of their actors, or one of the guy that was fixing a boat, and he was going to be part of the boat scene, I believe, goes missing. So Marlon, the guy that's in charge of the movie, he's starring. He's going to be an action adventure movie, and he's starring in it too. And he hires Sarah Booth and Tinky through the insurance company to hire them to investigate and find out what happened to this guy. Because when he first goes missing, they're like, oh, he's shacking up with his girlfriend, he just overslept, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes missing, the girlfriend shows up and says, no, he's not with me, and he hasn't been with me. And then they find his leg, and it was bitten. They just got like the foot and maybe a couple of inches higher. And apparently it was a shark bite. And then a shark is spotted in the lake area. And it's explained that a cruel someone, brought this bull shark to this lake. And it's one of the few sharks that can survive in fresh water. And there's a tremendous amount of this book spent with the shark and trying to find the shark and find the shark's background and investigate it. And while they're with this shark stuff, and they spend quite a bit of time on this, there's also these two people, Lamar and this Mary Doyle. And Mary Doyle turns out to be a shark expert. She's a biologist. She's got a degree. One of her assistants was killed in an accident or supposed accident. And so she had to take a step down from some stuff. So now she's running a bookstore in town. And she's partnering up with this Bilbo, Bilbo, guy. And they're harassing the crew, and they're pestering the crew. They don't want this film being shown. It's going to show Mississippi in a negative light. And they really, really harass the life out of the crew. And they come up with all these different scenarios. Then, during this time, Marlon also goes missing. And now they're investigating his disappearance. And they hope he isn't dead. What's going on here? All this kind of stuff with him being gone. And then Lamar shows up, and after Marlon has been disappeared for a day or so, and says, hey, look, I can prove they never filed papers in the town office. They don't have the proper permits. They need to shut down. And, they spend all this time trying to shut the film down. And it's a lot. And then between the harassment of the crew from the locals, especially this Bilbo and Mary, and then looking for Marlon, and then the shark. Those are like your three huge, the harassment of the crew, and then they have bikers were hired to come in and just not do anything, but just to like drive around and just be annoying. And you're like, why? And then there's also something, oh, good grief. She goes on every single video. If you haven't seen my Dirty 30, I did all of Janet Ivanovich last year. New Year's Eve was, so we did that. But anyways, then there's also something, Marlon's grandfather, who is still alive. Like I said, his parents deceased. They died under not so mysterious circumstances, and some people think they were actually murdered, but that isn't really addressed too well. But the grandfather apparently doesn't want, he's supportive of his grandson, but he's not supportive of his grandson. And some people think that he may have had his grandson kidnapped. He's hiding some secrets. It's all about this flood, and it turns out there was also a bank robbery from this flood in 1927. A bank was robbed around the time. So there's all that stuff going on. So those are your four really core. I wanted to, if I can find it here. I did that about the paperwork, and Judy shows up in chapter 10, and I wanted to find the seaweed. I just wanted to share this little bit with you, and I'm probably finding the wrong one. But Judy shows up. Nope. 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 Uh, so, uh, she's, that's no biggie. Oh, river that in silence widest through the meadows bright and free, till at length thy rest thou findest in the bosom of the sea. 4 long years of mingled feeling, half in rest, half in strife, I've seen thy waters stealing onward like the stream of life. And it's Biddy, and she's supposed to be the saga protectress. As a water deity, I guard the rivers and streams, the waterways with my poetry. I help the flow of emotions that water represents. You're a poet. I'm Van Gogh. You stole that poem from a famous poem. Imitation or larceny is the highest form of flattery, Judy says. The number 1 rule. It was good no one could hear her but me, otherwise she'd be burned for a witch without laugh. What do you want? Even if the creatures of the water need protection. And she's talking about the shark. That the shark needs protection from man. And then later on, she talks about, it's a bull shark, it's 8 to 10 feet in length, it's 400 pounds, and the shark was brought here against its will, and they spend time trying to rescue the shark. They spend time trying to find Marlin. They spend time investigating his grandfather. They go through all this. They go through all these records and papers and family trees. There's a little history. Uh, so they're talking about Marlin's mother. She fell down the stairs. So the senator had sent Jacob Wolf on, that's his father, on some fool's errand down on a barge. That's when Jackie died. She had a weak spell and fell. The senator said, and Jacob confirmed that she'd been having fainting spells, but wouldn't go to the doctor. They found her at the bottom of the staircase. She fell. And then Jacob kills himself a few weeks later. So there's that. But so then they find the shark. Now it's spend time catching the shark. They're still looking for Marlin. let me see if this is the quote that I was looking for previously before we wrap this up. So those are your, uh, I am the Salacia goddess of the sea. I don't care if you're the Queen of Sheba, put some clothes on. Salacia only laughed, a delightful sound that seemed to contain the serration of water. You're so provincial, Sour Booth, and you like to think of yourself as a rebel. I'm not an exhibitionist like you. Give it up and put clothes on. Two blobs of seaweed fell from her head and covered her chest. I'm the bride of Neptune, the mother of Triton. Sea creatures do my bidding. I must return to the salty sea. Can you call that shark back down the river to the Gulf? What if I can? Please do it before someone else gets hurt. It's not that simple, Sourabooth. In the old days, the goddess and goddesses interfered routinely in the affairs of man. We no longer have that power. And she just rambles on. But those are your main plot lines here. I'll put my notes aside here. The making of the movie, and they finally get a script, and they're like, oh, there must be something in the movie, there must be some motive, there must be some reason in the motive, in the movie, in the plot, that is having all these people attack Marlon. There was nothing in the script. It was going to be a secondary item that he was doing on the side, and that isn't mentioned till like almost the very end. So you have the first guy missing and his foot found, so he's obviously dead. The shark incident takes place almost the entire book. A lot of concentration on the shark and saving the shark and capturing the shark and all this kind of stuff. The search for Marlin. Is he dead? Is he alive? What's going on? What information did he have on so-and-so? What was he going to put in the script that's not in the script already? What's Anna's story? She's got a story too. What's going on? She was his co-producer. What's going on with her? Why is Bilbo and Mary so determined to shut this movie down? Why is the grandfather sort of helping behind the scenes to also shut the movie down? Up front, he's like, oh, I'm supporting my grandson. I'm going to help him do whatever he wants. I'm going to help him, blah, blah, blah. Behind the scenes, it's a little different with the grandfather. And it's just, there's just a ton of stuff going on there. Then there's a family secret that may or may not be explained later in the book. So there's got tons of history here. Tons of mystery and intrigue. Everybody's keeping secrets from everybody. And Sarah Booth's husband buys her a new car because her roadster is too fancy to be investigating. After 27 books, she finally gets a different car so that she can do sleuthing in disguise. So we'll see what happens. If you could hit the like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Lights, camera, bones, book 27. I look forward to book 28. It's out there somewhere. I have to get it. It's a Christmas book. So we'll see what happens. Have a good one.